Hey there! What's up, guys? So today we're gonna do a react of Mohammed Hijab. Uh, his thoughts on the Charlie Kirk tragedy. I thought this would be a fun guy to react to because he's probably gonna have an interesting take. That's what my feelings telling me. He's an interesting taker. All I know of this guy is he has done a debate for Shmuley on the Piers Morgan, America's Rabbi, Shmuley Boteach, and that was such a sloppy debate, but it was, I don't know, it was entertaining. I watched like all of it. And then I know he did it. He also did an interview on Piers Morgan, which I haven't gotten to yet, but I did want to make a point to check that one out. Without further ado, let's check this thing out. I feel like it's going to be interesting. I feel like he's not going to be like totally condemning of it. He'll probably show a value for life, because we're it's a sort of. I mean, we really get a taste of the Israel-Palestine conflict with this Charlie Kirk narrative. We really get a taste for it. He looks like us. He talks like us. He is one of us. Even if you're a left-winger, you know what I mean? He's still an Americano. It's American value, Starbucks and lattes and my iPhone, You know.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you guys doing?
Back at you, champ.
It's your brother MH with another video in the car. It's been a long time since we've done one of these, but sometimes they can come out more natural anyway because it's less performative.
We want to get intimate.
I can be a little bit more intimate with you and we can talk.
I watched it to there.
These very important issues that are on the news. And of course, what's been on the news is the death of Charlie Kirk, an individual who I've actually made a video about in the past and challenged to a debate and all these kind of things because he was a political adversary, especially vis-a-vis the issue relating to Gaza and the genocide.
Yeah.
The senseless murder of this man, probably by some crazed lunatic, far-left lunatic, has left a lot of people from both sides of the so-called political spectrum speaking in different ways. I mean, some people have become much more emboldened.
So far, I'm loving his take. It's not just like from the hip, he's my enemy, so good thing. He's actually being a human being. And like I mentioned, he's touching on the Israel-Gaza narrative.
From the right wing, and some people have become.
There's all sorts of conspiracy theories here, like Assad did it, and left wing guy did it. It's nice to hear this guy. He's just saying a far left guy did it, because you assume he probably is on team left. I'm not too sure. I haven't totally figured out this climate, guys. When I figure out this climate, I'm gonna really pop off. I'm still calibrating. There's so much information. There's so much deception. There's so much to dig through. And at least with this situation, it's hard to find. Nah, I don't even want to. It's so you hear left and then you hear right. It's so hard to get any bearings on your moral footing or your the business of it. That's my main curiosity with Israel and Palestine and Hamas and all these things is I'm really most curious about the money at this point. I haven't dove into that, but I feel like that's gonna be it's gonna be very informing. How's the money flowing and not flowing and these things, What are the costs?
The opposite.
Right? What's the business going on here? Here's something that is easy to overlook in history. It's all business. Every war, all of history, everything we can study is the highest levels of business. So when we look into this stuff, that's the kind of stuff we want to see. That's what we need to know. We need to know what's the money like and who stands to like benefit from, however this money's, whatever. I'm confusing myself.
From the left, and then you have Muslims saying whatever they're saying. I haven't really had the time to look.
I haven't looked into it yet, so I can't speak on it. It's important though. Like we need to know, like what's happening with the money. Where are the money narratives? I hear all these morality, virtuous narratives. Where's the money narrative? We need money narratives. I like the money. I'm just playing with that, but I mean, we gotta like money. You have to. You don't have a choice in America, at least.
Responses, but I wanted to approach this in a completely different way, and that is to tackle this notion, this false notion, in my view, of freedom of speech and expression. Now, what do I mean it's a false notion? I think it's a phantom notion. I think it's a useful fiction. I think it's a Western mythology. The way it's being presented, the way it's used as a slogan, okay, I think it's actually a fiction. Let me explain why, right?
Yes. I think what he's going to go on is like, I don't want to do whatever. We'll just keep going.
When people come out and say we want freedom of speech and expression, what are they actually calling for? They are calling, and this is the only thing they can call for.
Because we see cancel culture on the left side, but we also see cancel culture conspiratorially on the right side. You know, there's all these right-wing people, commentators who get canceled. And one of the conspiracies with Charlie is he was kind of given some anti-Israel stuff going on, and kaboosh, there we go. You know, is that free speech? If you can't criticize Israel, is your speech free?
Government to remove limitations on things like hate speech, on things like racism.
Like, what if I'm doing one of my Asmongold videos and I have a real rough take, and then Asmund just kills me? He just makes me die for it? That's insane. That said, these games, that's the thing. These games are at the highest level. This is business, and it's being played at the highest level. It's really intense stuff. Politics is kind of scary, right? And it's just kind of like a deterrent. It's like, oh, don't get involved. You might die for it. Like my girlfriend, she's like, oh, I don't want to get into politics because it's, all this, it's too much drama and stress, and everybody's socially assassinating and sometimes literally assassinating each other, But that's part of that fear thing. You can't let if you live your life in fear, you'll just stay frozen on your couch playing Call of Duty, which is cool. That's cool too. I don't know if I would choose Call of Duty. I'm waiting on Arma to get good again. Make Arma great again.
Or whatever it may be that prevents or otherwise inhibits an individual
Make Arma great again.
Saying whatever they want to say, so long as they don't want to harm anyone else in the social liberal sense. And that's, of course, the harm principle. That's what they're calling for. But in so doing, they're assuming, actually, the presupposition is that freedom of speech and expression is the sole property, in a sense, or it's exercised only by the government. Freedom of speech and expression, and I don't want anyone in what I'm about to say to misinterpret what I'm going to say, because obviously I'm a Muslim guy. People are going to say this guy is saying this, that, and the other. Freedom of expression is not okay.
Here's what I wonder about, like, a guy like this who's like really like pro-Arab, like trying to get love for the Arabs, stuff like that. He seems left to me, but would he be willing to switch right if it was still pro-Arab? That's my take. I feel like this dude's really genuine with everything. He strikes me as a really genuine dude.
Okay, something the government controls. Because the assumption here is that the government has all the power in a given society, where we know that actually there are different parties that have different power. There are different stakeholders of power. And when I was doing my undergraduate in politics, this is actually the first thing.
That bicyclist in the background scared the shit out of me for a second.
I learned. I'd done an undergraduate, and I can remember the first year, and I think it was the first lesson, okay, where they taught us what is referred to as like theories of power. And I remember Robert Dahl, his definition is, you know, the power is person A's ability to get person B to do what person B would otherwise not do. And then they contrasted this with like
money
and Barrett's and other
money. It's really money. Money's a big thing, you know, like how much we sacrifice for money. Like I took a promotion one time and it was only like a $2 promotion, and the job got shitty. Like it sucked then, you know. So then I left, and it's like, oh man, I fucking like traded this, the perfect job for a guy like me, where I could like, you know, work on myself or things that I'm interested in, and get paid, you know, full time wages.
Individuals who actually said no, power is more distributed, and most,
you know, times that by 100, you know, kill this dude for 50 grand, or, you know, like what? Money, man. It's not that, like, what is money like? You know, we're sold on all these things, like this mud around me, you know, this wood and mud around me. Like you think the structure is more impressive than God's structure? Who did God have a talk with? It's like King Solomon, one of those guys. He's like, this great king, he's like, I'm just as good as you, man. I'm just as cool as you, dude. Look at the castles I've built. Look at I have power over life and death. And God's like, bitch, build it on your own dirt. You know, everything is God's reality. And all this stuff, all this shit is just mud and wood. Like, understand that. Like, this is what we need to, like, understand as a Christian nation. And it's not about becoming socialist or not, like, playing the game of money making and, you know, perpetuating the country. But there's a point when you start selling humanity for numbers, when numbers exist for humanity. Money exists for humanity. Humanity does not exist for money. And as soon as you confuse that, you're totally lost. Your soul's been killed, and but you can resurrect it. That's what so many movies are about. That's what so many biblical stories are about. Like this dude, it's either John or Paul is a really cool one. He goes around just resurrecting people. That's what it's all about, guys. They're dead. They're dead. Get it? They're dead. They're dead. All the way dead. And they gotta come back to life. That's my interpretive dance. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Subscribe and like this video.
Analysts said actually this is a proper.
Am I too goofy for politics? Like, this shit's so serious. Oh, this is serious stuff. Life and death is serious.
More proper definition of
It's
what
true.
power is. Obviously, Michael Foucault took it to another level, but we're not going there now.
How long can I keep up this, like, nonchalant jokiness, right? How long can I do it for? Will I just never get an audience because I'm not, like, being divisive and inciting, like, fear or hate, you know? Like, can I just have fun in this atmosphere? Is that a possibility, or is that an impossibility? I look around. I don't see a lot of people having fun. Asman says some funny stuff. Even Hassan will say, like, something that's kind of funny. I don't know, guys. I don't know.
In terms of power, it's more distributed, etc. And I think there is an element of truth in that proposition. that
might be a
actually
little
power
too
is
loud.
more distributed in the society. Now, why am I mentioning this and linking it to the fact that freedom of speech and expression is in fact, okay, a phantom and fictionalized concept that the white man of the West has made almost a religious concept, is because, look, power in any given society is in the hands of the government, yes, but also in the hands of multinationals, or of the hands of
What about the white man?
bankers. Power in the man of the West, fictional.
Yo, am I white? I look pretty white. This lighting shit.
Fictionalized concept that the white man of the West has made.
Don't they like kill you if you're like anti-Hamas? Well, this is like the point I'm making about like, oh, he said, she said kind of narrative, where it's like, don't they like kill you if you're like anti-Hamas or anti-Muslim in like the Arab world? So here's just another beat where it's just contradicting. Guys, I'm working on a video and it's like there's so many contradictions in the Palestine-Israel narrative. It's ridiculous. You can't get anywhere. Like, they both have these perfect arguments and rebuttals, and you can't get anywhere.
It almost a religious concept, is because, look, power in any given society is in the hands of the government, yes, but also in the hands of multinationals, or of the hands of bankers, in the hands of the gangsters. You don't want to admit this, especially in a place like America, especially where you're saying you can have gun rights and stuff.
The British Empire was built on the opioid. Most superpowers are actually funded by drugs, the selling of the drugs. That's just a cold hard truth. Get used to it.
And actually, Kirk was one of those people. There is a clip of him saying something to the effect.
And then you see what the British Empire did to India. Or this is one of the most interesting facts of all time ever. During the height of India, 1 out of every $4 came from the Indian marketplace. 1 out of every $4 spent came from the Indian marketplace before the British Empire R-worded it to death. Right? That's interesting. That's interesting stuff to look into. America colonizing Mexico. Colonizing, settling, whatever. Annexing, who knows? We gotta Google this stuff if we really want to know. Whatever. I'll figure that out later, the differences. But that's interesting stuff to look into. Like, how was Mexico doing before the whole, like, southwest part of America became, part of current America was Mexico. You know, how were they doing? How was their economy before America did its thing? The Native American economy obviously was nothing. You know, it's just peace and love, pretty much. Barter systems and being with God. That's what, like, the word Indian comes from. Like, Christopher Columbus titled them as Indians because the etymology breaks down to, like, being close with God. They're godly people. So that's the kind of the way I look at Palestine defending itself, rightly or wrongly, whatever. They don't want to have what happened to India happen to them. And there's like a lot of people who can go into a lot more depth on that than I can. I go, you want us all just to be Gandhi over here? Like, you take our country? It's like, oh, yeah, no wonder Gandhi's so famous. Like, yeah, be docile and passive and let us take your stuff. Yeah, of course we're going to popularize that guy.
So I'm not going to play it because there's people going to misinterpret. You know that if people have to die for this, it's fine. You know, which is quite ironic, actually, considering that he died for it himself.
Because, I mean, you either submit or you fight back, and fighting back gets really ugly. But that's what George Washington would do. George Washington, he's got a great quote. This will be a nation of free men, or it will be covered in, or blood will cover the whole place, or something like that. You know, because George W. His main life aspiration was to live a life of British gentlemanly leisure in America, and Britain was turning him and the higher class of Americans into sort of like dead slaves, you could say. So there was no leisure. The dude worked his whole life. He popped off in the military like no other. You know, he comes back. He acquires some wealth and he invests it in trying to attain this leisurely life, and it's just impossible. It's impossible. Britain tried to turn America into India. India couldn't even buy their own fucking t-shirts, man. They make a t-shirt in India where the majority of the world's cotton was coming from India at that time. Indians can't even buy a fucking t-shirt in India. It's got to come from Britain. It's craziness. That's what George Washington avoids. That's what Palestine's trying to avoid, rightly or wrongly. I don't know all the details. It's easy to have a humanitarian perspective on such a thing for both sides. But Israel's clearly doing a lot of silly business. It's hard to avoid all the news that comes out of there. Unless you like only have an interest in video games, but as soon as you have an interest in any, like you can't avoid seeing some of the horrible things that are going on there. And all of our mainstream guys have a very specific and particular narrative, and we're just Americans, so we don't know how to believe. And that's what the whole narrative comes down to, is this Jewish world and this Muslim world are both like trying to convince Goliath which side to take. The Christian world is Goliath. They need your opinion. Machiavelli teaches you need the opinions of the populace. Without the commitment of the populace, you'll never rule. Like Israel and the Palestine issue, the Gaza issue, is they will never be able to rule those people. Machiavelli says so. They will never be able to rule those people. Those people will revolt. It could be 100 years, it could be 1,000 years, it could be a 5,000 years. Whatever reasonable, as long as the earth still stands. They will revolt. They will take back power. And the only way you can get around something like that is with a hero. You need a hero. You need a George Washington or that other guy who we don't talk about. Or you need a war hero. And having a war hero leader, Conor McGregor, having a war hero leader, you can do anything. You can do anything, dude. It's kind of what Trump is, but Conor McGregor's actually that. Like, we haven't had a real hero leader, and not in my lifetime. I don't know. Hero leaders are young, though. They're young, they're soldiers. Conor McGregor fits that stereotype, whatever you want to say. That's a warrior. And we all admire him, and we admire his fighting spirit, these sorts of things, right? So that kind of leader can just about do whatever he wants. But a situation like Israel and the Palestine occupation, all this stuff, Israel can never lead those people. So that's where the whole narrative comes in. Like they have to get rid of them. Like they have to leave one way or another. But then you still have all these other Arab territories where it's like, I think that rule still applies. I don't think even if you clear out Israel, Palestine of all Arab agenda and influence and culture, I don't think you're still surrounded by all these guys. Machiavelli says no, which, you know, the video I'm making, I've been working weeks on it now. It's the biggest project I've ever worked on. I hope YouTube allows it because it's the subject matter. I'm not holding any punches back for anybody. If this guy says something, silly, then we're gonna see it. If the other side says something silly, we're gonna see it. I don't know how much I'm gonna commentate on it, but I just want to share my experience with the information that I'm taking in and the information that seems notable to the tapestry of the larger picture.
You said that now. If power is distributed in that way that we've just discussed, then freedom of speech is not a concept that can be actualized or realized.
But like this dude, I had high hopes for this, but he's still just turning out to be a giant douche or a turd sandwich, right? He's saying, "Oh, those guys are silly, but we're not. We got free speech over here, but they don't." Right? It's just like the right? Like they cancel all these people from the mainstream because they don't actually support free sheep. Free sheep. They don't support free sheep. The shepherd does not support free sheep. Do not sheep freely, or you will be shepherded somewhere.
Or materialized in any meaningful,
which is so
sense in
ugly,
society.
Because
there will always be a group of people.
What hopes do
who
I
decide
have?
not to obey.
What hopes does a guy like me have for a world like
Their
that?
rational analysis, their cost-benefit analysis, is that actually I'm going to go against the law, and in order to delete the influence, let's say, of my political adversary, we're not going to play by the rules of the social contract, and we're going to a more anarchical position. Okay, there's always going to be a group of people that consider that to be a favorable option for them and or their cause, and therefore freedom of speech, if you have societies with, especially if you have societies with mega populations like America, is something which actually cannot be realized in the full sense. Now, having known this point, and it's very important that you understand that the reason why this is the case is because the government does not control, is not the sole administrator or the sole arbiter of freedom of speech in the society. If you understand this, and it's actually multiple sources and actually comes from different stakeholders and whatever, if you understand this point, then you realize that sloganeering on behalf of freedom of speech, now we need freedom of speech and this and that and the other, is almost a fruitless exercise, because you're asking the government to do something which is not in their power. This guy, Charlie Kirk, was connected to Donald Trump. He was basically, with all due respect, his mascot. Every day he was speaking about him. Every day he was like, I'd see a tweet that he was saying things about this and that and the other. He was...
Dude, the thing is like, he's just that, right? He's just like a commentator. He just talks. Like, most of us know about him. Like, the whole world knows about him, pretty much. We weren't watching him. Most of us, right? We all know who he is when the tragic event happens. Where was I going with this?
A close friend of Donald Trump. Yet Donald Trump, who had recently been...
Oh, yeah. It's just a commentary guy. You know? There's going to be a million other people who have to say the same things.
Attempted assassination has been attempted on him. Donald Trump himself, couldn't protect him, despite the fact that he was in an environment that was similar to the one that Donald Trump was in before he got shot. But Donald Trump didn't take the precaution and say, okay, this guy's a firm supporter of me, therefore someone who would want to kill me would also want to kill him, because he's a very influential person. He mentioned it himself, very influential to the youth and so on. and if they hate me, then they hate him. The security was abysmal. He was, with all due respect, I mean,
I don't know if I'd say abysmal. I remember you can see like guards, officers, whoever they are, with like high ground. Like they're up on like a parking garage opposite or something. Doesn't seem like they were looking or searching. You know, it seems like you gotta hire a fucking private military to go do these things and have them scoping out every building, right? Like, it's ridiculous. We're actually coming to civil war. We're coming to a civil war.
America really has to reassess how they're dealing with guns here. Like,
And I've been predicting that for like a while now since I've been getting into politics. I'm like, oh my God, there's a civil war coming. How entertaining. The little pleasure beast that I am. But no, it's ramping up. And Asmund says more is coming, so probably you know, make sure you're around your right kind of people, or else they might fucking kill you out of some emotional virtue.
You've got 330 million
Straight
people
up,
in the country,
protect
or
yourselves.
maybe more now. I don't know. I haven't looked at the population. And we're hearing it's an unsafe. I wouldn't want to live in America. I'm sorry to say, it's an unsafe country, especially not as an influencer. Especially not as an influencer.
True. Why would anyone want to do this shit?
America becomes one of the most unsafe countries that you can imagine because you don't know who's carrying a gun. It's too much. Okay. So that's another issue. Donald Trump really should have protected his man a lot more than that. He should be blamed by the far right. He should be blamed because there was an attempted assassination on him. And
dude, there's this new theory that Trump may have had a stroke. That's interesting. With this week that he disappeared and everyone was speculating that he died, there's the theory going around that he might have had a stroke. There's some interesting pictures out there too.
He didn't even put the precautions in place for his major.
That sucks.
Supporters and so on.
Poor
and so
guy.
forth. But that's something else. What I'm saying to you is the following: is that if we as a society know, or as people know, that freedom of speech is a phantom and fictionalized, romanticized, idealized concept. It's a religious concept, really, because it's connected to classical liberalism in one way or another. And that mentioning it so much in slogan is actually a fruitless enterprise because there's so many different stakeholders of it and all the things that we just mentioned. If you know that, then what is it then?
The fact that I can like tell what team you play for, like listening, you know, I give someone like, and in minutes I can tell what team this political commentator is. I can tell what team this streamer is who has nothing to do with politics. I can tell what team this movie is for, and then thereby their studio. Like I specifically know the Warner Brothers opinion on Israel-Palestine. Why would I know that? Like all entertainment, like The Boys is the most egregious version. All entertainment has just become these political influencers. It's not even art anymore. Like it's just art masquerading as propaganda. It's fucking boring. Even Star Wars, dude. Did you guys know that Star Wars is based on Israel-Palestine? I didn't have a clue till I learned about this shit. What? The Star Wars, dude? Oh my god. Isn't Spielberg... This is where it gets real confusing. And Spielberg's all like, you know, helped Star Wars. I guess it makes sense. No, yeah, because it's Israel, and it's so easy to forget sometimes that like all Jews aren't Israel, like all Jews aren't evil guys. A lot of them I don't know how many, but I certainly know some, 100%, are just totally fucking normal. Watching TikTok and reality TV and taking in the same poisonous conditioning that we're all offered as like this, as this empowering fruit, a fruit of the devil. And not the cool devil who like actually makes you a little smarter, at least for a bit, like, in Bedazzled, like at least Brendan Fraser like becomes the pro basketball player or filmmaker, writer, or whatever he wishes for. And then there's like a shitty flip side to it, but at least he gets the thing that he wished for. This devil, they don't even give you the thing that you wish for.
You should know that there is a limit to what you can and can't say or should and shouldn't say in terms of self-censorship. There should be a limit to that. Because if you know that, okay, well, if I say this about this group of people, I'm putting myself in danger. This is an advice to myself. Like me, by going out and speaking about Islam and the Gazan genocide and the Rohingya genocide and the Uyghur genocide, there are so many enemies to me, right? I understand that that carries a risk.
True. That's why I'm coming into this. I'm like, dude, I'm taking in everything. Everyone loves to say that. Ooh. Because if you don't, your opinion is actually instantly invalidated. So everyone will say like, oh yeah, no, I listen to all sides. I listen to all sides. That's why I'm so heavy and only preach information about this side. It's really hard. It's so conflicting. And that's the whole game. It tries to get you, right, you're in the middle, and you got both of these sides vying for your opinion, because Machiavelli says your opinion actually does matter. Your opinion isn't just throwaway. Like, you matter. Like, you have inherent value to the leadership of this country, of any country that you reside in. So, that's their game. Stress you out, right? You're right here in the middle, and you get this anxiety when you're in the middle, and like that's the hardest part, is to just play the middle. But realistically, the reality is a lot of Democrats are just goofy dummies who say goofy dumb shit, and anybody who reads texts and film that perseveres through time, it'll make it a lot easier for you to see silly things, because everything's being sold, right? Everyone's trying to get their dollar. So, there's, it's the new thing. It's going to change your life. It's going to fix you. It's like, no, you want to go backwards, and you want to consume the tasteful things that stand the test of time. You'd be safest just doing that, and be very skeptical of anything that's new. Take it all with huge grains of salt, because who knows? Who knows? It's new. Who knows? Let everyone else, go try the new thing and pay for it.
Okay, but especially when you talk about politics and religion, you understand that carries a risk. From our perspective as Muslims, we have this concept of martyrdom, which people, once again,
the sad truth is, the ancient Egyptians, the ancient Greeks, they figured it all out. It's all figured out, bro. If you have questions, if you have confusions, you need proper guidance, go to the ancient Egyptians or the ancient Greeks, who were taught by the ancient Egyptians everything they know, and then the Greeks taught Rome everything they know, and then Rome taught the white people everything they know, and so on. This power flows throughout the continents. You can see it. You can actually see it moving. Anyways, just do that.
Distort this concept.
Because everything new is just, they're just playing games. There's all this trickery. There's all this trickery that is only possible if you don't know ancient Greek, if you don't have a relationship with the ancient Greeks or the ancient Egyptians, whichever one's more attractive to you, pick one.
Which is that if you die
Rome's okay. Rome's okay, but Rome's where we start to get really tricky. Rome, we got a lot of people who are saying there's a Roman law. He who would be tricked, let him be. That's a shitty law. That's a scamming kind of law that sledges everybody down in this sort of muddy quicksand, and now you're moving through the system at a lower rate, potentially immovable once you're really high up in this game, and you're talking about people on the foundation of the game. We start getting sick and twisted. So careful with Rome. Rome's cool and everything. Rome's like an ancient America. Like America's really a Rome, and same with this whole Israel. Oh, Israel controls America. It's like, welcome to Rome. Welcome to Rome. That's Rome. Oh, you got mad money and hella connections? Yeah, just come, be our emperor. And then he uses the Roman power to help with Africa, if he's an African king, or with wherever. Like, that's Rome. We're in ancient Rome. If you want to really think good, you got to go to the ancient Greeks or the ancient Egyptians. That's just the cold hard truth. Everything else is like, okay, we figured it out. Now how do we like fuck with it? And like, how do we? There's just all these games that are being played.
Text like someone shoots you or something, then you're a martyr. You actually are a martyr. The Prophet ﷺ said it himself that whoever dies protecting his wealth or self or his family, etc., he's a shaheed, he's a martyr. And so this idea for us is, that's what gives me comfort. Okay, that somewhat, if I go out like that, it's fine, no problem. I mean, I get to the highest level of religious, ranking. Okay.
True.
But
Self-sacrifice, Christ.
What,
Christ did it. Every awesome hero does it. It's the most heroic thing we can do.
what I'm trying to say to you is that there is a heavy taxation for all of us, influencers across the world, wherever your politics is and whatever your religion is. Yeah, there's a heavy taxation for taking and agitating to a certain level. There's a heavy taxation. If I go far enough, there's going to be people who want me dead. There are things I could say online that would make people want to shoot me and stab me. I've probably said those things already. But that's why, do not hide behind this idea of freedom of speech. Freedom of speech, in your understanding, cannot. It's not just that it does not. It can.
Here's one of my favorite ideas for like America is, America's getting used by Israel. It's like, well, what if it's like part of the plan? Like, why are we so quick to undermine America? Because all of our lifestyle. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good reasons. But is that like, are those the only reasons?
Not exist. Because there's always going to be a group of people who are criminal and who would like to take the law.
Like, it's like undermining a dude whose girlfriend's way too hot. Like, damn, bro, she's too hot. She gotta be using you, dude. She's way too hot, homie. She's after your money or position or something. But it's like, yeah, okay. Maybe she is. But maybe homie knows that and he's still in control. That's like, I think that's like where I'm landing with the Israel-Palestine drama. I'm not landed. But it's very clear that the Christian world's opinion is what really matters. Because we're so dominant. Technologically, artistically, all these things. We're just the fucking best, dude. Fuck yes, dude. So that's what the Jewish world, there's only 16 million of them, by the way. Don't forget, there's a fucking handful of them. And the Muslim world, who are also 2 million, just like 2 million Christians, but, their tech's not so hot. So they're not like a real threat, right? Have you been paying attention to like anything that's been happening since middle school? You know, these guys aren't real threats. Israel seems formidable. They have nukes, they got money, they got good tech. Still very small population, and like it would be ugly if things got ugly, but like it would be doable. So that's really the game that's being played here. Machiavelli would tell us. They're after the opinions of the Christian nation. So they'll do it like there's all this like anti-Jews, like Jews hate Jesus, but Muslims like him. It's like, okay, dude, I can find Muslims that hate Jesus and Jews that like Jesus. Let's stop being silly. And those are just kind of those contradictive points that just makes it a fucking whirlwind, man. It's just this chaotic spiral.
On their own hands, and their cost-benefit analysis is always going to be that it's favorable for them to do so. And so what this thing about Charlie Kirk's murder has shown us is that even if you are connected to the political administration, the political elite, to Donald Trump, to the establishment.
Dude, this guy's talking to us like we don't know about JFK. Like, dude, yeah, we know. People die for politics. Back to Rome. Like, you guys ever study Rome, dude? It's all about death. Do they actually have a 4-year term, or was that like the average? I can't remember. I can't remember if they would do terms or... No. Their militaries would kill them. They would take over Rome, or get put in power of Rome, but then they wouldn't be able to make their militaries happy while satiating the statecrafters. So then their military would kill them, which is fine for Rome, because now you got some other dude coming in with all this money and military, and you just rinse and repeat, right? So let's not undermine America too much, guys. Let's also be weary that, like, you know, Nazi Germany was like funded by an outside party. I don't know the specifics, but that's the story of the Nazi Germany. It's a golem or a Frankenstein, right? Like, you created your own monster, or like every villain Tony Stark has. It's where you create your own monster. So that's really the only thing that we need to worry about with Israel. In an actual, like, I mean, like, I do like the takes of, like, everything's not great here. Like, we have people suffering here. We have people living these confused, aimless lives here. We have people throwing away their bloodlines, you know what I mean? Like, thousands of years of your human bloodline, and you're just throwing it in the trash so you can please yourself to death. I mean, that's pretty disgraceful stuff.
You cannot be safe. You cannot be. There is no safety.
And most of these people, they're not developing themselves artistically or creating a sweet career path to be proud of. They're literally just pleasuring themselves to death, the majority of people. And this is even people who do all the right things. They get all the A's in the schools. They go to the college. They take the debt. They do all the right things, and it's still not working out. And that's not okay. It's really not okay. You know, all the people who built America, us whiteys and us blackies, we're being pushed aside. And all these other guys have proper conditioning to actually fulfill proper positions that make a healthy society. We're all being cast aside, man. If you're white, anyway. If you're not white, well, it's all good. But, like, how many Asians do you see working these shitty jobs, you know? Whatever, we don't have to get too far into this today.
Okay, there's no safety. And if we know that, then at least what we should do is...
But I know that's a thing because, you know, it worked on me. I see it worked on tons of people in my generation and people in my generation who are doing really well, right? One of my more recent sayings is, like, nobody's winning. Nobody's winning. I look at so many people. All of us are out of balance, right? Nobody's winning this game.
we can offer our disagreements with people that
We're playing a game where there's no winners,
or whatever it may be. But there has to be. We have to temper, or we have to like be a bit careful not to go too far and not to create societal division, because this will be one of many murders, by the way, if we continue. If the far right growth continues, because the far right is inviting the far left now to respond, and it's going to become. It could even become a civil war in your country if it continues in the United States, for example. If this continues for many years, it could actually become somewhat of a mini civil war. The only way to stop that is to realize, okay, well, actually, we need to all respect one another. Don't go too far. The far right can't come out and speak the way that they're speaking against ethnics and against racial minorities and against religious minorities and Muslims, because eventually this is going to be very bad for everyone. Okay, the far left can't respond in that way as well.
How does a civil war form? Like, you're like, oh, I choose this team, and then you get shipped out. Like, the bus comes, you take the bus. How does that work? Like, everybody's just militia fighters. Like, there's just a bunch of regular guys who play Call of Duty and drink beer, and then they're just like gonna go to war. Like, in the street? like what? How does a modern civil war even look, man? Like, actual war. Like, the Israel, it's not much of a war over there. They keep calling it a war, but, like, wars are, in my mind at least, they're you know, that's a lot of just bombing, and they call it this war, and everyone's seeming to point it out. It seems more ridiculous not to point it out. The real conspiracy at this point is the people who aren't acknowledging these things, and that's one of the newer conspiracies with Charlie's assassination is he was starting to push back on Israel. But it's like everyone is. You shoot yourself in the foot by not doing it. Even if you're pro-Israel at this point, you have to act like you're not pro-Israel at this point. No? Am I wrong here? Anybody who's like, oh, yeah, that's okay, you're self-canceling.
If this continues, it's going to be very bad for everyone. That's the lesson.
Dude, I'm like Asmongold, bro. I got a 12-minute, 13-minute video. I've turned this into 52 minutes. You guys are welcome. Like and subscribe. Drop a comment, perhaps.
Listen to learn from this.
I know my takes haven't been too clean. My entertainment style is a little rusty. You know, my words are a little slow. Some of it's a little dumb. I didn't like a part around like the halfway point maybe so far. Like, I said some dumb shit. I was like, fuck, I wish I didn't say that. So nothing I say in these early videos counts. That's a rule that I'm making up right now. I'm sparring right now. I'm training. I'm stretching. I'm getting, I'm still getting my bearings on this political thing. Just trying to get some people to hang out and go on this journey with me. That's really,
if you want to speak about
that's where we're at.
Then know that this is the ultimate price that any of us can face at any time, and there is no protection from it with Allah's will. But as Muslims, the greatest protection is the idea of martyrdom itself, and that, to be honest, is a beautiful thing. Wassalamu alaikum, and I hope you understand that I'm not advocating for anything particularly. I know people are going to be taking this out of context, but I don't care anyway. I've said what I've said. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Salam alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Back at you. All right, that was a cool video. I enjoyed it. I had a good time. Hopefully I didn't say too much stupid stuff. Hopefully you guys are entertained and had a good time. Maybe learned a thing or two. Had some new thoughts. Have you seen Twitter? Jeez. Follow my Twitter, Zupiti8, Zupiti 8. X. Follow my Xer. Follow my X. Hey guys, follow my X on Twitter